biggest mistake Jacksonville made during the preseason was they rested Foles throughout the entire preseason, didn't give him enough reps with the first team wide receivers and to get in sync much quicker.
Well, the jury's still out on that one. I don't think Foles has got enough body of work here, maybe one more season. But these coaches are going to go with the people they get.
Right.
So Ron Rivera started out with Cam Newton, he's gone. Malone started, traded for him. So they kind of got their livelihoods on the line here. So they're probably going to give him another shot next year.
Right.
See how he does. But, if you've got a quarterback that can play as well or better and is playing for a lot less, remember, this is a business.
Yeah, that's.
So, we'll have to see how the contract's structured, whether they can get out of it or not.
Yeah, Bill, and that's
I think it's too early right now to start dumping on Nick Foles. But, like I said, you got to have two quarterbacks. Down the line, if Minshew plays really, really well, it opens the door.
Yeah, that's been the recurrent theme here on the program is a lot of people say don't give up on Foles after 1 year, but after two, then you obviously have to do something. And I think a quarterback competition would be what it is, but if Nick Foles has to be a backup next year, then so be it, because everybody knows in this league you're one play away from getting into a football game, and he obviously was a good quality backup in Philadelphia, took the Eagles to a Super Bowl, and I'd like to see what a different coaching staff would do with Nick Foles. So giving up on him after 1 year, I think would be way too premature. Another coaching staff should work with him. On the last night's game, Monday Night Football, Minnesota-Seattle, definitely a higher scoring game.
That was a fun game to watch. The Vikings have not beat a team that, has, what I consider to be a contender for the Super Bowl. They beat the lesser-ran teams. But I still like the Vikings coming on. They're one of these teams that continues to keep getting better. I thought they came back really strong in the fourth quarter when they were pretty much down by 17 points. So you never know. This team could be peaking, so they're maybe a sleeping giant. Seattle looked really good last night. So, you just got to get ready for the playoffs and keep tinkering around and working on your weaknesses. The Vikings keep getting better and better. And that's, they almost pulled off a win the other night. And that's a tough place to win up in the Northwest, particularly in Seattle.
All right, let's dig deeper into that Carolina Panthers. We've talked about it all show. We're talking about it with you. Obviously, he leaves the Panthers with a 76-63-1 record. His best season, 15-1, 3-4 in the postseason, one Super Bowl appearance. And I know the guys that are obviously now, you got Perry Fuel, the interim head coach. I don't know if you know much about him, but everybody knows about Norv Turner being a special assistant to the head coach. So how do you size up that Panthers coaching situation? Do you think this is a chance for Perry Fuel to win the job with a good, strong showing? Because I know many times if a good interim coach goes ahead and performs well, he's certainly going to get at least an interview.
Well, you have to forget you got a new owner in there, and Richard Tepper.
Right.
And I think that he's owned the team now for 2 years, and I don't think he liked the fact that they went on a 4-game losing streak and lost to the Washington Redskins.
Right.
And he's looking at a quarterback that's going to do to make $19 million next year. And as a owner, you may sit back and I just need a fresh start, and I want to put my stamp on this team. So I'm going to trade Cam Newton, but it's an unknown right now because of his health. So you got to wait that out, and you got to they got a good young football team that just went a little bit of a funk. But you live and die by your quarterback, and Ron Rivera would still have a job if Cam hadn't gotten hurt. So it is what it is. So I just think that the owner is going to clean house. That's my gut instinct. And again, it's a business, and start all over. And when you got a quarterback making that kind of money, maybe it's the best for all parties.
Well, Tepper.
So I think the Panthers are going to turn that franchise around a little bit.
Yeah, Tepper has a vested interest not only in the Panthers but the area, because I know he's talking about bringing an MLS team there. So he's a guy that's going to make a lot of noise in every business front imaginable out there. So yeah, I think you're right, Bill. Well, he's definitely in for a clean house situation. I want to go on to some positive stuff for a change, because we talk about social media. First of all, weren't you happy that the Cincinnati Bengals won a game with Andy Dalton at quarterback? Because I think Andy Dalton is a quarterback that should be a starter in this league.
Well, he is a starter in this league.
Well, wasn't until he got benched.
When you're losing games, it's not just one guy's fault. You have to look at the film and see what's going on. And sometimes, you don't want to lose the quarterbacks. You just sit them down and see what the backups can do. And then they came back and put them back in there, and they won a game. So, I just think that, the Bengals, need to take a look at the organization and continue to stay with the quarterback. Been a proven commodity. Just try to get a stronger team around them.
I think so.
The Bengals, they're kind of known for being cheapskates.
Yeah, right.
So, the reality of it is sometimes, you just want to see their organization do better and not be so poor. I can remember when they broke in as an expansion team. They had a quarterback by the name of Greg Cook who just was unbelievable before he got hurt. So, they go up and down like an oscilloscope. And this is a down year for the Bengals. So hopefully they won't be so bad next year. And I still think that, to answer your question, that their quarterback is, a solid guy, and just going to get some talent around him.
Yeah, I've always liked Andy Dalton. Very quiet, goes about his business, a very blue-collar guy. And you and I have been very critical of a lot of quarterbacks because they've been out there so flamboyant with what they do. But Andy Dalton's just a quiet guy in a market which, has been down for a while. But I personally believe that Andy Dalton can start for a lot of teams in this league, and I really like Andy Dalton quite a bit. It's about time I get to say something nice about a quarterback, but this guy's a model citizen. Put him in the right spot, and anything can happen. So I'm definitely a fan of Andy Dalton.
He's solid. Sure. Yeah. He's solid. Just because the team isn't winning doesn't necessarily mean it's the quarterback's fault.
He gets criticized, but he gets criticized for his playoff, the fact that he doesn't have a playoff win. And the Bengals have been undisciplined even under Marvin Lewis. But you know what? I don't totally hold that against Andy Dalton. There are a lot of circumstances, but I think Andy Dalton's a feel-good story in the league. Another one feel-good story I want to talk about, Bill, is the fact that Amari Cooper wants to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys, wanting to be there. And you know what? I know he's a very intelligent player, a guy that studies. He doesn't cause any problems in the locker room. Again, these are the kinds of guys that don't get enough recognition when we talk about a lot of the bad that's wrong with the league. But Amari Cooper and tonight Andy Dalton are a lot of what's good with this league.
Yeah, and Amari Cooper, he's kind of they got that ground game going with Ezekiel Elliott. Dak plays a decent game within their system, but their receiver, he's their possession guy. He kind of makes their offense go. And, I think the Cowboys will kind of make the adjustments there. I don't think Garrett's going to get fired. I think he's going to stay. They're going to turn this around a little bit, but Amari Cooper's got to stay with the Cowboys. I think it's going to hurt his career if he goes anywhere else. And I think he'll get his money, but they've got a three-headed monster right now. All three guys got to get paid.
Right.
And then somehow Jerry will figure it out.
So we'll talk about the Cowboys, okay? And I know even though Garrett hasn't lost his job, would you be able to, and I know it's just strictly an opinion at this point, what coach out there would be a good fit for the Cowboys, knowing full well that you got a guy like Jerry Jones calling the shot, and that would be puppet territory?
Well, I don't see one.
You don't?
Yeah, Jason played for Jerry, played for the Cowboys. He's been there a long time. He reports to the owner. So it's going to be tough for a guy on the outside to come in and play under those types of situations. And I think the only guy that would do that would be the offensive coordinator.
Kellen Moore.
That was calling the plays for him right now is probably the guy.
Kellen Moore.
Get the job, so they promote from within house.
Yeah.
They'll probably reassign Jason somewhere else.
Well, I think
the organization.
Well, I think Jason gets hired someplace else.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, my feeling is Jason Garrett will get a job all day long somewhere else. But now that you mentioned Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, I could see Jerry going with a young offensive mind. Everybody, it seems like the league is going to younger guys, anyways. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Rams situation, Buffalo, and there'll be a continued trend of younger guys. And Kellen Moore, to me,
San Francisco as well.
Right, exactly. Well, Kyle Shanahan, that's a good point, Lewis. So that's a good. I like that
these
suggestion.
guys are young, but they got a lot of experience. Let's take a look at Sean McVay.
Right.
I think when he was like 10 or 11 years old, he's sitting in the meetings with Bill Walsh. Age. I think a lot of these guys are young, but they have a tremendous amount of experience. At a very young age, so they're on par with guys that have been in the league for a long time. If you can coach, you can coach. But you also have to have all things run on all cylinders. So, Kellen's been with the Cowboys, and he's a good offensive coordinator. I think Jerry's comfortable with him, so then we do some shifting around a little bit. So that's where we're going, though. We're going with younger people. I think one of the things that I picked up on with the Panthers is, the reason they fired Rivera, with a couple of games left in the season, which kind of was a surprise to a lot of, journalists that are seasoned veterans. They may be looking for a college guy right now. Okay, and a lot of these coaches are getting fired right now, so who knows? They may have their eye on some college coach that they're bringing in, and they want to get a jump on it right now, so that's one of the major reasons why they made the move there. But definitely, I totally agree with you guys that we're going to younger coaches. It's a young man's game to begin with, but, we're going with some younger coaches these days. That seems to be in vogue.
Well, you bring up a couple interesting points. You're right. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a couple of good young candidates out there, not only for the Carolina Panthers, but the Dallas Cowboys as well. I think there's probably a good few college coaches that would be prepared to take the NFL job. I can't say they've all worked out. But again, you're talking about fresh blood. How many recycled coaches can you end up having anyways, Bill, until you bring on another point? Lewis, go ahead. You want to chime in on this?
Yeah, so this is we were talking earlier about college dipping down to the pros, and there are reports coming out that Jimbo Fisher was possibly exploring an NFL move. Jimbo Fisher is a no-nonsense kind of guy, and we know he has a pedigree at the college level. You think, Bill, and I'll ask this to you, and Scott, I want you to chime in as well. You think Jimbo Fisher has a future wearing the Cowboy star-crossed hat on his head? I mean, you think he'll be their next head coach, or will he at least even get a shot?
If they don't promote Kellen from within, I would think that Jimbo would be one of the guys that would be on their short list of guys that they want to come in and bring in for an interview. Lewis, it could be 1A and 1B. Whether or not Jimbo would be the type of guy that would knuckle under Jerry is another, I don't know about that. That might be the only caveat to them not, looking at Jimbo. That's why Kellen might be a stronger candidate, because he kind of knows what the deal is with Jerry. He's already there. He kind of sees what's going on. You bring in Jimbo. I don't know if Jimbo's going to want to surrender control a little bit to his organization. Okay? However, there's other teams out there that may turn around and compromise a little bit. I think of Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. There's a new breed of cat playing quarterback, too. It's a copycat league, so who the hell knows? They may bring in Lincoln Riley to Carolina, and also Jalen Hurts. Jalen's got to work on throwing the ball around a little bit, but he can run around and do this, similar type deals. I've seen him dominate football games. When he was with Alabama, he won a national championship, and geez, it was fun to watch him against Baylor. So these offenses are a little simpler, and maybe there'll be a package of some of these quarterbacks coming in and bringing their player.
Yeah,
I was watching go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. You make a great point. No, you're fine. You do make a great point. If you're going to go ahead and get a more high-profile coach, you're not going to do it with Jerry Jones. You're just not going to do it. But that doesn't mean that, like you guys have mentioned, that Carolina and these other ones where they will give you a little bit more authority. Good points by both of you. I'm glad that you were able to, I agree. I would be more content to think.
I will tell you this.
What's that?
Jimbo is an impressive So I happened to be at a coaching clinic with him. And I walked in to see him for about 5 minutes, and I was actually in there for about a half hour, just him and me. And I walked in, and I introduced myself to him, and I kind of made a crack to him. Like, how's Ben Bennett doing? He did a double take. I was got a whiplash. Said, yeah, I used to play for Coach Steve Spurrier, and right away he